calls it the DFY, done for you, meaning you don't have to do anything. All you need to do is invest, and I'll do the rest of the work. So those who came in early, they benefit from it. So it's like he's carrying the can, he's carrying the full, the whole system, everyone that was involved are to blame as well. And there's certain matters as a Muslim you must know. You must know about Rizq min Allah, that Rizq is from Allah. You must know, you also must understand why is that the case. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين. Okay, جزاكم الله خيرا, brothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. MashaAllah. You guys sound asleep. Eh? I don't want to say it again, but make sure you're awake, inshallah. All right, I've been given the task to discuss about Rizq min Allah. Yeah, everyone's focusing, yeah? And that was before this issue came about. So I'll focus on Rizq min Allah, what it means. Inshallah, I'm going to touch upon that. But I also want to touch upon the Aqib Ahmed's Ponzi scheme. Yeah, that happened just after I was giving this address, yeah? So the reason these kind of things happen, yeah, I reckon, it's my personal view, because our community, the Muslim community, is one of their strengths, which they're knitted together. They're very close together. They have a very strong family bonding, unlike the general non-Muslim societies. Yeah, they don't have that strong family bonding, and that's why one of the reasons. That's why it's easy, these kind of Ponzi schemes, to penetrate into our community and get individuals, because it bases on what? It bases on trust. It bases on people of leadership, people of authority. And that's what happened. These Ponzi schemes do that. Now, the concept of Ponzi scheme, although it's been attributed to him, but it is a clear Ponzi scheme. The idea of Ponzi scheme is that the investors, the new investors, they basically pay the money. They're the funding. They fund this whole system, this whole business, for the ones who've already been there already, the earlier investors. So the new investors that come in, they are funding the whole business. That money that they're coming in and they're funding the business. So those on top, they're receiving from it. That's how that Ponzi scheme works. So there's no real actual wealth or actual money being produced, actual income. It's just taken from those people who are investing. Is that clear? That's what a Ponzi scheme is. Yeah? A pyramid scheme is a Ponzi scheme. Pyramid is more about, it's focused on when people go out looking for investors. They're called the victims. Yeah, they go out, and the more you get in people investing, the more people on the top get more. So that's how that Ponzi scheme or the pyramid scheme works. Yeah. Now that's what Aqib Ahmed's scheme was. So what he did, it's not clear it's only from people who've been in there. From the outside, he says that it is something, he calls it the DFY, done for you, meaning you don't have to do anything. All you need to do is invest, and I'll do the rest of the work. I'll do all the work. He says that very clearly in his Facebook, in his Twitter account as well as in his LinkedIn. He says that. He says that you just invest and I'll do the work. So what is he doing? So people come into his workshops and they try to understand what is called marketing. It's all a show, marketing, how you make money. He gives an Islamic angle to it, how in Islam, how you make businesses. That's his presentation. And he shows what's the return. So if you invest this kind of money, then you get 8% return. And over time, this will continue to become. So if you put £1,000, you get an 8% return, and that 8% will be continued all the time. That's what happened. So how did he pay them? Those who put the money in, he pays them because others are paying in, and with that money, he pays them. So the more people are coming in, that's the money that is coming in for the income of the business, and he's paying them. You see it? But he kept that quiet. And there is no, he hasn't done an interview yet. I know the 5 pillars tried to do an interview. Some of his friends tried to make an interview with him. He hasn't, clearly mentioned. There was a admission video that one of the brothers did a video with him, and he admitted, but he hasn't clarified how it worked and why he did it. He hasn't clarified that. And a lot of the issue here now is it's not just him. Yeah, he's the one started, but people who, it's very clear that some people are saying that those who came into, they also knew the Ponzi scheme, but they continued. They got benefit from it. So those who came in early, they benefit from it. So it's like he's carrying the can, he's carrying the full, all, the whole system, everyone that was involved are to blame as well. Yeah. And that's why I was looking at some of the Arabic channels, and they're talking about the hukum shara regarding do have those that benefited from it, do they have to pay it back? Do they have to give it back? So now the discussion is it stolen money? If it's stolen money, it's haram to own. But now they're asking if it's stolen. But therefore, did they knowingly do it? If they knowingly knew, then it would be stolen. But some of them go into the business, they don't know. So there's all that discussion that's taking place. SubhanAllah, you can see that what it does. So one of the key issues that what Ponzi schemes do is they exploit the poor. Literally, if the poor, they look at it, they think it's a good business, that I'm going to get a massive return from this. I pay in £1,000, I get £100, and then £100 monthly I'm sorted. So you put in more and increase your investment more and more. And that's what happened. There's some individuals that I looked at, there's a whole Facebook discussion on that. And some lost about 120,000, bro. 120,000 people. So, subhanallah. And Akib Ahmed has said that he's going to pay it back. He's been crying over and people don't believe him. So it's very unlikely he's going to pay it back. But that's the issue. There's quite exploitation of the very poor. Some their life savings they put into it. So why the Muslim community goes in is because it's easy to channel on the Muslim community because of the close relationship that they have. Also, we do have a growing individuals, growing youth that want to make money. They want to get a quick, get rich quick. All of this, they've been affected by it, and they try to halalify it as well. They try to make it Islamic as much as possible. Now, in principle, there's nothing wrong. In principle, you should be making. The norm of Islamic societies is entrepreneurs. They're self-employed, meaning that you make your own. You don't. The norm is not that you're working under someone as yours. The norm is actually that you make your own money. You are self-employed. But here, there needs to be a framework to understand how to do this. There needs to be a framework. So what I'm going to go into is the Rizq Minallah, but that's one of the framework that needs to be present in an individual. And I'll explain why this is one of the major frameworks when it comes to going into investments. So what is Rizq Minallah? Now Rizq, the reason we did it on Rizq is because it's a creedal concept. So it's important that those who attend, they understand there's certain matters as a Muslim you must know. You must know about Rizq Minallah, that Rizq is from Allah. You must know, you also must understand why is that the case. So there are other concepts like ajal, your lifespan is fixed. These are Aqidah concepts, these are main Aqidah concepts. I know people tend to go into the Aqidah concepts about the Sifat Allah, attributes of Allah. These are difficult discussions. But this one, they should be clear. These are clear discussions that you should know about these. But yet, some people, they believe Allah is Ar-Razzaq, the provider, but yet they will do haram in order to get wealth. So some people who take the opinion that beard is fard, some would just shave the beard just to get the job. These kind of things happen. Why? Because this aqidah matter was not understood properly. They've been affected by the reality. So rizq linguistically, it comes from the Arabic trilateral word, that razaqa, which means to give. Yeah, something that is given or portioned. So the plural of it is arzaq. Yeah. So that's the linguistic. That it's about giving. Who gives it? It doesn't. That's not. It's all about someone and the razaqa giving or portioning some things. So in the usage, in the way the Arabs understood, the way the Islamic society understood, is receiving gifts or receiving something that you can use. You don't have to use. You can possess. It's about possessing about something. So that is mainly what rizq is. Rizq is something you possess, that you have, and it can be many things. So some will argue that it could be a marriage, it could be a wife, it could be children, it could be tangible, yeah, madi, as well as intangible, like services, yeah. But the difference is that it's not ownership completely. So when we say ownership, when you have ownership of a rizq, it means that you own it halal. So ownership in Islam is milkiyah, that you own it in a halal way. Rizq, you can own it in a haram way. Yeah, you can possess something, but your rizq in a haram way. We understand that rizq is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it is you who's acquired it that makes it halal or haram. It's the way you acquire that make it halal or haram. So there's a hadith. I'll read the translation. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Were the son of Adam to flee from his provision as he flees from death, his provision will surely reach him just as death will reach him." Meaning that it's fixed, meaning that it will come to you regardless where you are. That rizq is given to you by Allah. So the question is, how do you attain it? That's the question now. If it's fixed, if it's something that is given to you, that Allah's given to you, the question for us, the ibadah, the worship is, how do I attain it? And there's a statement of one of the Imams, some say it's just Imam of Hanifa. I haven't found couldn't find the source for that. But the statement of this Imam is that, why are you stealing? It's a thief got caught out. And he asked the thief, why are you stealing from your rizq? Because you're going to get it. That rizq, that thing that you stole, that was going to come to you anyway. That's the understanding. It was going to come to you anyway, but why did you have to steal it? That thing that was of money, that was going to come to you anyway. So why did you steal it? Regardless. So the Allah has given it to you. What you should have been thinking about is acquiring it the halal way. No? So Ibn Taymiyyah says this. Yeah, I'll read the أعمال نعمة من الله. Wealth is blessing from Allah and trust with a servant. It is obligatory to manage it in ways that benefit oneself and others without deceit or harm. So you're going to get the wealth. You should be thinking how you're acquiring it. You shouldn't be worried about, oh, I need to do this and I need to duck and dive, and that shouldn't be a worry for the believer. It makes sense to the non-believer, the disbeliever, that he does all of this, duck and dive in order to get wealth. But the believer should not be like that, because he knows Allah is the one who provides, and therefore Allah is the one who's giving it to you. But the way you acquire it is by haram. It just doesn't make sense to the believer. So there's a rational aspect for rizq as well. Yeah, something that the non-Muslim will understand as well. Now that's from the issue, where does rizq come from? So rationally, this is something that the non-Muslims can understand as well. That when you look at things that money come to you, wealth that comes to you, how does it come to you? So the non-Muslim will look at realities that you work, you do the job, and then the job gives you that money. Therefore, there's a cause, is the job. But when you look at it, sometimes you get it without the job. You inherit. Yeah, sometimes you find it in your house somewhere. So when we look at these realities, they're not causes. The misunderstanding is taking these as causes, that your job is the cause of your rizq. Yeah? The reality that shows you that the causes, they're not clear. From this, there's the multiple issues. Cause cannot be multiple issues. Cause has to be one. That cause has to be one. Can't be several, because it will have an effect. Therefore, the cause we don't know. So when you look at it rationally, it's impossible to know what the cause is. And that's why Islam comes in, the revelation comes in. Revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah makes it clear that He is the cause. He is the one who gives rizq. And there are many, hundreds of ayat on that, where Allah says, and indeed it is Allah who is the best of providers. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَهُوَ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. In Surah Hajj. And there's hundreds of that. Allah reminds the believers, reminds the people, mankind, that He is the one who's providing. So the provision that is from a rational standpoint, we don't know. The revelation gives us understanding that it's from Allah. You see it? Because the rational mind can only go as far. So that's from the rational mind. Yeah. So that's the first concept. The second concept is about the rizq is fixed. It is a portion is given to you, and that is what you're going to get. And that is, Allah has already decided that. And there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Verily, you have asked Allah about the duration of life already set, the steps you would take, and the sustenance to share of which is fixed. Nothing will take place before its due time, and nothing will be deferred beyond when it is due. Meaning, these matters, the life issue, which is the ajal, the rizq, these are matters that are fixed, that cannot be changed. And therefore, that mentality now gives you, so you know it's from Allah and it is fixed. Then it doesn't. It gives you the scholars talk about a concept called ka'ana, yeah, the contentment. That's what we'll go into. It doesn't. It does. The believer is not like, oh no, I need to make money. Obsession. He doesn't have that has to do some haram in order to get it. That should have been the case. Because once those things are very clear to him, that it's Allah the provider and it's a fixed matter Allah has given, that shouldn't be a problem. Now that shouldn't it shouldn't make him into that obsession that he needs to make that money, he needs to make that wealth. And this is what this society does. It tries to push you that. Yeah. I'll go probably in the Q&A because there are some discussions regarding that. The rizq can increase and decrease. There is that discussion the scholars have. And I'll go into that in the Q&A. I understand, but the general understanding is that it is fixed and Allah considers the understanding when you make dua, when you make sadaqah, when you make the keep friendship, silat rahim, these are matters that can increase your rizq. And these are considered part of the overall rizq. So an example is Imam al-Ghazali. I was reading one of his books, and one of his Ihya Ulumuddin. Yeah, he talks about one of the concept of qana'a, yeah, with contentment. That's the translation. Being content, because Allah's already given you that He's the provider. It is fixed. Why is the believer like this? And then he goes, because the nature of the human being is from the hadith where Rasulullah said, if the son of Adam had a valley full of gold, he would want to have another valley, have two valleys. Therefore, it means that these rules that Allah has given is in order to protect that human being. It's to protect him, because naturally is actually quite natural now. It makes sense that the human being wants to, if you give him one value of gold, he will want another one. That's the nature of the human being. Therefore, the rules are there, these concepts are there in order to prevent this, prevent the individual going carried away. Yeah. There's an interesting discussion between the Hanabila and the Ahnaf, the Hanafis and the Hanbalis. Yeah. So they discuss about tawakkul. So the Hanbalis, they focus on that we know that Allah has fixed it. We know when Allah is the provider. Therefore, that should be the overriding concepts that when you go into businesses, you should think about that Allah has provided. Therefore, you should think about that. What do I do in order to make my business have barakah, have blessings? So the Hanabila, they concentrate on the tawakkul, that you have to have a lot of tawakkul to Allah. Whereas the Ahnaf, they concentrate on the efforts, the a'mal. That you do, the efforts will come. Efforts, long as you do the efforts, it is up to Allah whether to give you the rizq or not. So they concentrate. Both do say tawakkul and a'mal, but it's just who emphasizes more. So the Ahnaf emphasizes more on the doing the action. So why do we do action if Allah's gonna give us it anyway? And that's Ibn Taymiyyah gives a really good angle on that. He said we do the action because this is something that Allah is asking you to do. It's sufficient that Allah is commanding you to do it. So they have this is a discussion about the person that is rich. Does he need to work now? Because he's got wealth. Is it obligatory to work? So seeking your rizq is fard. They understand from many of the texts. But is it fard on the one who's got wealth already? That was another discussion they had. And they're saying, when you look at this whole issue about money and how it works, the whole idea is from the collective. The whole idea is from the society level. Because the society needs to be productive in the issue of wealth, meaning the wealth creation. The society needs to be always, there needs to be economic activities in order to create wealth, in order for the standard to increase. So they say even if he's got wealth, it is encouraged that he goes and works. He goes and does business because it helps the society. Yeah? So this is Imam Ghazali in his Yahya. He says, wealth is a trust and its circulation is necessary for societal stability. Whoever is able to earn and bring benefit should not remain idle, even if they are wealthy. So the idea of it is actually a collective concept, that the society needs to be on a level that helps other individuals in the society. So if the society is wealthy, individual naturally have that wealth because the economic activity happen all the time. That's why in Islam, we concentrate on the distribution of wealth. That the wealth should not be kept by someone. It cannot be hoarded. If it's hoarded, it doesn't go into the economy. The distribution doesn't mean the government gives hands out. It doesn't mean, it means that the wealth needs to be out there in the society, in the economy, and there has to be economic activity for the wealth to create. You see, so that's a concept that a lot of scholars talk about, and this is from the Surah Al-Hashr, isn't it? Where Allah says, so that the wealth does not come to be revolving around the rich amongst you, become the monopoly of the rich. Okay, so these are the few concepts I thought I'll address regarding the having that mindset, understanding rizq min Allah, that it is from Allah, it is fixed, and understand how it affects in a society. So you're benefiting the society as a whole. In regards to, let's go back to Ponzi scheme, yeah? Now, the scholars talk about there has to be some due diligence. They call that tathabbut, that you need to concentrate on it. And there's a statement of Umar Khattab radiallahu anh, and he says this very clearly. This is a well-known statement. He says, none of you should engage in the marketplace unless he first learns the fiqh of the deen. First learns the fiqh, the rulings of the religion. Lest he falls into unknown issues and knowingly unknown, falls into usury, riba. He said, لِأَلَّا يَقَعَ فِي الرِّبَى, unless he falls into riba knowingly or unknowingly. I mean, if you do not know the rules, if you do not know the fiqh of buying and selling, the fiqh of buyu, the fiqh of ijara, you need to. So in other words, he's saying you should not be entering the marketplaces until you know the fiqh of these matters. And that is another matter that we get used. If we haven't studied it, it's upon you, because if you're going to make the action, you have to learn it. So the way we learn as-salah, we try to learn about where should the hands go. We learn it from. We don't have to learn the evidence, but you learn it from your imam. Where should the hand go? Why should raising the hand, when should how to go down? All about when it comes to the mu'amalat, your transaction. Why isn't that? Why are we thinking about that? Why are we thinking that what did Rasulullah say about these? How do we make contracts? What are the rules of the contract? We don't concentrate on that. Why? They're still from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The scholars only differentiate between mu'amalat and ibadah because of the concept of illa, which is the reasons. Yeah, that's the differentiation. But they're all from Allah. The mu'amalat is from Allah, the ibadah is from Allah. Why are we differentiating? We're supposed to know this. And that's why the statement of Umar Khattab makes it very clear that we need to learn about the deen. So going into transaction, we need to learn about like the concept of what is the riba. What is riba? Some of us don't know what riba is. So sometimes we get confused what riba is. And then that needs to be understood. Riba is a transaction, is an unequal transaction on a loan, on something on money, loan, money, or gold, silver. There's certain 6 items that if you do unevenly, exchange unevenly, then it's riba. Yeah, and again, that needs to be understood. We need to learn that, because sometimes we misunderstand that some contracts is riba from the Western concept of interest, but it's not actually interest. That's not actually riba that we understand. And some things are riba, but they say it's delayed tax, but they're riba. See, even the Western concept don't align with the Islamic concept of riba. That's what you need to understand. Interest is not riba, and their delayed tax is not, it's riba. Some delayed tax are riba. You see, so we need to understand from the Islamic concept what riba is. Yeah, then you got the concept of maisir, the gambling, ghara, the uncertainty. All of these, you're going to learn these. You're supposed to learn these because you're supposed to learn your fiqh. As Umar Khattab made it very clear, you shouldn't be entering these contracts in marketplace without learning the fiqh. I'd like to end it on a positive note. Yeah. Because we should know the Muslim Ummah is an Ummah that is entrepreneurs. If you look back on our history, it's a Ummah that is they make their own money. They're not working under, they're not employees mainly. They're mainly actually self-employed. They're entrepreneurs. That's the norm in our history. And we know there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that where he says the truthful and the trustworthy merchant will be with the prophets, the Nabi'een and the truthful and the martyrs. So he'll be raised, meaning he'll be raised with the martyrs, the prophets, and the truthful, the siddiqeen. The truthful, and the here is the truthful. التاجر الصدوق. Yeah, the truthful. So it doesn't mean you're just a normal business person. It means the truthful, someone who deals with honestly, fairness, upholds justice. So that is a concept that needs to be present in your dealings. You need to be true to yourself. You can't be getting into businesses and thinking that you can scam someone else and take over someone else, or go into business unknowingly. I don't know, it's a scam. It's all right. I'm just going to make my money. These concepts, we need to get rid of these kind of concepts. You want to make money, Allah is the one who provides, but you do your efforts. You do have that tawakkul in Allah and do what is necessary. And you want to be raised on the day of judgment, on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, with the prophets, the Siddiqeen, and the Shuhada. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.